People want authentic. People want real. People want attainable. And so the more you can epitomize those characteristics when you're out there promoting whatever it is that you're promoting.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another fantastic episode. With us today is author Aaron Bryan. He's works with authoring, self-publishing, marketing. He has done a plethora of jobs in the past that have contributed to his experience today. And we're so excited to have him on. Aaron, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing wonderful. We were already having a great pre-meeting warm-up chat. Really great to chat with you already. We like to ask our entrepreneurs, tell us about your journey. What were you doing before that kind of prepared you into what you're doing today?
Well, just remember, as we spoke and bantered in our pre-chat, I seem like a nice guy. Remember?
You seem pretty great. So we'll see.
Seem. Just make sure we keep it there. Seeming is not reality. Man, I've done. What was the question?
Tell us about your journey. What were you doing before and what you're doing today?
Well, in the reverse order, I'm a dual storyteller. So right now, I actually am a voiceover artist. There's the studio back there. There's the studio mascot lying comfortably on the chair. I am a voiceover artist, so I'm presently the voice of United Healthcare, for example. So any of the commercials that you see or hear, it's the all-in-one member IDU card. And enrollment ends December 7th. That's moi. So I do a lot of voiceovers and I'm a storyteller in that regard, but on a parallel track of being a storyteller, I'm an author. So over here, I tell other people's stories. Over here, I tell my own. I much prefer this one over here, but I just love them. I'm very grateful for both. Before that, it's been multimedia, a lot of corporate and wedding videography. Give me a minute to purge the wedding videography, video transfer, video production, video duplication, anything that started with a V, really. Vivisection. I did a whole bunch of just things that started with a V. And a lot of jumping around jobs before I entered self-employment in 2007, bouncing around to working for someone else's dream, and hated all of them. I think I had 14 jobs within a 3-year period. Not kidding. But self-employment is where I belong. That's what suits me. So that's where I'm at.
That's beautiful. And I hear that from a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. They try the 9-to-5 lifestyle and that doesn't seem so appealing to them. They much rather work for their own dream than someone else's.
Yeah, that really is the differentiator, is just you clock in, clock out. You are earning a paycheck, but God forbid something goes wrong with that person's company. First of all, it's their company. It's not yours. It's their dream. It's not yours. You're a cog in the wheel. And if God forbid something happens with that pursuit, then you're out of a job. And then you have to then switch and then work for somebody else's dream. It's a constant trade-off. No offense to anybody who loves working for someone else and the stability that can come with that, because we all know there's a relative amount of instability in self-employment, but we thrive on it. You're trading one prison for another, and you're settling for and surrendering one person's dream for another person's dream. I said enough. I just kind of finally reached a breaking point, and it was 2007, really, I believe, where I said, I'm going to launch. I'm going to do my own. If I don't, I'll regret this forever. I'll be so remiss in a decade. And I'm so grateful I did. So I'm working for my own dreams right now.
That's fantastic. A little bit earlier, we were talking about making investments and how we can invest our time and our money. It seems like we're trading that time when we're working for someone else and we spend maybe a lot more of it, but it doesn't feel quite like the same work since we're pursuing a goal that mostly benefits ourselves in the end. But there's the safest bet I feel out there is investing in ourselves as opposed to trading it for someone else's time or money.
Yeah, it's not really an employment scenario, but this actually it smacks of the same emotion, the same trap that we can kind of find ourselves in, the rut. And last year, I actually detached intentionally from the voiceover community. There are powers that be. There is a voiceover Illuminati of sorts. And I felt myself really kind of banging my head against the wall, trying to become recognized, trying to become one of those people that are called upon to speak every retreat, every event that they have. There are these people that they go to over and over and over again. Well, I was a rising star in voiceovers, and I was an influencer. I was a thought-provoking new guy that just did a lot of anomalous things that a lot of your standard voiceovers, they don't do. I had my own database. I produced my own training videos. I wrote my own books. I was a renowned blogger of 300 blogs, 6,000 subscribers at one point. That's not very typical. I was very atypical, and I love being an anomaly in that regard. Even with all of that, I was not getting the recognition that I wanted. And here I was climbing the voiceover corporate ladder. This is the same thing as the 9 to 5. And I finally, my job, I pulled out of the voiceover community March of last year or May of last year. And boy, did that just open Pandora's box and pop the lids off some geysers of creativity. The rest of the year just turned into a boon of creativity once I stopped licking the boots and kissing the butts of the people that I needed to in order to be recognized. I'm so grateful I did that, man.
Absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that it's such a boys club in almost any industry that you almost have to sell yourself out a bit in order to get to that next level and climb the ladder. But the fact that you can redirect that energy and say, hey, I'm going to do something different. This is about doing this for myself. And I'm the one who's going to achieve these goals. You went out and got it. And now look at you. The creativity is just spilling over. You can't hold on to it. It's just like, I can't stop this. That's your zone of genius. That's what people are performing optimally. They're loving what they do. They're producing a lot. They just enjoy the work they're doing.
Yeah, tremendously. They say find what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? I still work, so I don't know who wrote that, but they're drinking something and I'd like a sip of it. I think overall, the people who are the most satisfied are the ones that are just doing what they love every day. And what I love every day is creating. I am called to be a creator. So that does not necessarily mean a creator of media that is widestream or mainstream. It just means creating something that I love. So my books are sci-fi in nature predominantly. Not everyone reads sci-fi. Some people read historical, or some people read westerns and romances. When people are silly in that way, why would they read that? It's sci-fi. Come on. But I love creating, and even if nobody picks up my book, even if nobody buys it, which I hope is not the case and hasn't been the case, please buy my books. Starving college student. I love just creating something and looking back and going, I did this. This is my book. I designed this. I did the blurb. I did the layout. I wrote the book. I had it edited, some of it, but this is all me. And what a legacy I'm leaving for my wife, my kids. It's just every day I get to wake up and go, wow, really? I get all this? It's amazing.
That is incredible. And as you mentioned, sci-fi, I've always appreciated just how technology is incorporated into sci-fi. It seems to be very futuristic. And suddenly 20, 30, 50, 60 years later, that sci-fi technology becomes reality. How do you try to incorporate something that is futuristic and beyond its time and yet still realistic that it gets created a bit later? Do you think that's by design? Is it happenstance? Is it created from that thought or instance?
Well, I'm going to be shameless here again. This is Dissonance. This is the first part, or the first installment in my sixth book. It's called a Hexalogy, my sixth book sci-fi post-apocalyptic alien invasion series. And so volume one, Reality, is set in 2042, right here on Earth. The prequel is set in 2026. So we have a few years, relax, the aliens haven't come yet. This is the very first one that I wrote. And then I went back and wrote the prequels and stuff. But yes, it's military. Yes, it is survival trope. Yes, it is in the future. That doesn't necessarily mean that things have advanced. I wanted it very grounded in reality. So the synopsis of my story is in 2026, the aliens came. It's only 2 years from now. And they killed off 85% of all mankind, including organic life. The rest are living in these fortified military bunkers underground called blockades. Can you tell I've told this story before? So because 85% of us have been killed off, there's been no forward movement. There's been no innovation. We are stuck in essentially arrested development from 2026. So even though this is set in 2042, we don't have factories where we're creating and rolling out these new Abrams tanks or these new jets or highfalutin technology. It's basically what we had to work with in 2026. So I did want that grounded in reality basis. The other thing I did, I don't think this is very atypical. Pardon me, I'm getting a transmission coming through from the president. What I did is he calls when he needs advice. It's getting a little annoying at times. What I did is I had them thread their way through Clarksville, Tennessee in this first book by using Google Maps and Google Street View. So largely where the operations take place was all done via a Google satellite view of plotting them here and then moving them there, and then their actual street names and actual businesses and actual establishments and actual highways and actual landmarks. I wanted that groundedness in reality that not a lot of books can hit if they're set 3,000 years in the future on some forest moon of Jakarta, whatever. That sounds a little too close to India. Jakarthadon. Now that's Greek. It's like, you know what I mean, though? It's not too far-fetched. They don't have to suspend disbelief there. It's really attainable.
Yes, and those are the stories that I actually dive more into. The ones that are grounded in reality, the ones that are on the planet Zarnia 3,000 years in the future. I can't place myself into that.
Now, is Zarnia with an X or a Z?
Uh, it's spelled
I
Xzarnia.
thought Xanadu comes from there. Yeah, got it.
Well, that's
X is
killer.
the cool way to go.
But yeah, those stories are great, and I love that it's grounded in reality and kind of gives me the Resistance vibe, the Matrix vibe. We're kind of fighting this bigger force. We're forced to go underground and just survive. It's the survivalist, and that
Yeah,
story then carries through for what is it, about 20 years or so? It's 2048.
2042. But the sequel that is actually releasing tomorrow, which is Dissonance Volume 4, what did I call it? Relentless. They all start with R. That one takes place in 2045. So essentially, it's about a 20-year span from 2026 to 2045, this hexalogy of books.
That is so cool. Now, what does it take for someone to even take an idea into a book, to create something, to then self publish and try to promote that? Because your background, you've done it all yourself and you've learned a lot from others. What marketing takes do you have for self publishing and trying to get something out there?
I mean, I've enjoyed the process. People who wait for traditional publishers are going to wait a long time. I don't have that kind of time. I mean, there's gray in here. You can't see it. It's there. And it's all from the traditional publishers. You lose a lot and you have to renounce and surrender a lot when you go the traditional publishers route. Now, I grant you, if Penguin Books came to me or Random House came to me and said, like, Mr. Ryan, we'd like to publish Big Cigar. Mr. Ryan, we'd like to publish your Dissonance series. And here's a fat check and have a nice day. That's kind of nice, but I've done all the legwork myself. I've edited it myself, and I've had them professionally edited. But when you go to the traditional publishing route, you have to give up creative control. Number one, I hate that. As a creator, I absolutely hate renouncing creative control. I'm a control freak anyway. Ask the wife and kids. I like to have the creative control. Number two, quicker time to market with self-publishing, way quicker time to market. And especially if you've got a change for a previously published book, you make your change, you upload it, it's done. You don't have to wait months to go through legal and compliance and all that stuff. You could command higher royalties, which everybody's in favor of. If I want to price my book at $9.99, I can do that instead of $2.99 for Kindle. You know what I mean? And there's so many other advantages with self-publishing. The specter of self-publishing that scares people away is the marketing side of it, always. No one likes to stand on a street corner with their sandwich board, ringing their bell and go, hi, buy my book. I promise it's great. No one likes that, and no one should. But there are strategic and super creative ways to do the marketing that you're going to do yourself anyway, whether you're self-published or traditionally published. The thing is, I was given the best advice a long time ago by an author, and I wish I could remember who it was. I know it was a girl. She said, the best way to do marketing is don't market, be an enthusiast. And there's a vast chasm of difference between marketing, being a marketer, and being an enthusiast. Enthusiasm is contagious. People love to buy and they hate to be sold. So if you market to them, that's trying to twist their arm and you should buy this book. Enthusiasm is like, look, I just want to tell you about an awesome story that I'm so amazed that I was given. I can't believe I was given this story. And you got to hear it. Let me tell you about it. And then you sit down, and you tell them the story, and they go, it's contagious. And then they get excited about it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think those instances can be applied to any area of sales or marketing, not just for books. Coming with your product or service with enthusiasm, like you said, it is contagious. Your body language is different. How you communicate the message when you're thinking about sales, when you're thinking about marketing, you're trying to like hit them with a question answer and trying to frame it in a certain way. If you're just super excited about something, that's love. That's purely human. That's authentic. People love that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm one of those guys, the poor saps who did Amway way back when. And so Amway, I'll never forget you're actually taught this. This is how important it is. You're actually taught to say this, and I quote, do you like sales? No? Great. You'll love this. Yes? Great. You'll love this. I mean, you're actually taught to pigeonhole your clients and hem them into a narrow space from which there is no escape and then hit them with your Amway marketing spiel. And it really isn't that way. With a book, with any service that you're providing, as long as you are uber enthusiastic about it, that enthusiasm will catch fire and it'll spread and people get excited about your excitement. They don't feel high pressure sales. They just feel you've got something that you can speak to that has changed your life and maybe it'll change mine too. So where do I sign? That type of thing.
Yes, absolutely. For those who are interested in starting their own book in order to try to increase their popularity, they want to be seen as an industry leader, maybe a thought provoker, as you mentioned. Is that possible doing your own self publishing through a series of books to try to make yourself seem more important in the world?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, as a voiceover artist, I was in the voiceover community, like I say, people struggle with this. The two biggest things that hamper people in forward momentum of sticking their neck out and like standing apart from the herd is analysis paralysis and, of course, imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome will hold anyone back who has aspirations of doing anything great. Who am I? What do I matter? You are everyone and you are everything, man. You can do this. I love Russell Wilson's quote about what his dad said to him. Now, we don't quote Russell Wilson much in Seattle anymore since he betrayed us and went away. He's been floundering with the Cowboys. I think he went to the Cowboys. I can't remember. But he said his dad said that was really unnecessary. Strike that. He said his dad told him, "Why not you? Why not now?" I love those two questions paired together. Why not you? Why not now? You have a unique vantage point. You have life experiences and lived experiences, furthermore, that differentiate you from the herd. And you have a uniqueness about you that can appeal to people. I love Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." And the more you can be, the more distinct you are from absolutely everyone else. And that's what makes you saleable.
Absolutely. And I see this mistake happen with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've been guilty of this as well. We're trying to get out there. Well, we tried to not going to put myself out there. And again, it could be that imposter syndrome. They're just afraid of failure. They're afraid of success, even. But we kind of get in our own way sometimes when we're trying to push ourselves forward. Sometimes it can be good to ask a friend, ask a colleague, so we can understand that shared experience.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we have similar experiences and we can help lift each other up out of that and help push each other forward. But it's tough kind of putting yourself out there. Almost feels like you have to be vulnerable and people have to learn about you. And people are afraid to make it feel like they have an ego about themselves, but they want to be enthusiastic about themselves, but not so self gloated. Like, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. And I just had a million different answers that I wanted to give you. And now I can't remember any of them. I'm going to try though. I'm very humble. You might not know it because we don't know each other that well, but I am extraordinarily humble. And so to put myself out there, I'm exceedingly grateful for any measure of success that comes my way. And so I take that with a huge dose of humility. So to put myself out there and promote and put things in all caps and say, the official promo for the new release by Aaron Ryan, all caps, you have to be your own cheerleader. And it takes a measure of boldness to say, I am simply promoting this. I am not enlarging my own ego. There's a difference. One of the things I did teach, though, when I was in voiceovers as a coach was stop being a person and start being a persona. So, of course, you are going to have to balance those two out there. Like you just said, it requires a measure of vulnerability. People want authentic, people want real, people want attainable. And so, the more you can epitomize those characteristics when you're out there promoting whatever it is that you're promoting, as long as you can epitomize that, but also balance it with a little bit of, hey, I know who I am and God's made me fantastic and I've got something incredible to offer. So that's this book. I am exceedingly proud of this book. So what I can do is I can take my little ego and put it into here and I can promote this instead of me. It gives me an object to put forward instead of necessarily putting myself forward. That's not going to work as well with everybody. As a voiceover artist, you are promoting yourself. I mean, you're promoting this right here, and this, but you really are promoting yourself. So it does take a bit more to suppress maybe the ego that might creep up there. Overall, though, you are somebody special. I mean, you have to kind of reconcile that with yourself on your own terms, but it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any resources out available online, like either your favorite authors, YouTubers, podcasters that kind of go into more detail, either the marketing aspect, the self publishing, or any topic that you're passionate about can share with our audience?
Yeah, well, with regards to self-publishing, any self-publishing author who is watching this or will watch this will freely concede that the marketing side is just the hardest side. You just want to write. You just want to create. And I completely relate to that. So there are different people like Shelby. I can't remember her last name, but Shelby does an Instagram course for self-published authors. And then Steve Piper is a great one. I'm doing Steve Piper's click testing course right now. And I love that course because it basically helps you narrow down all of your ads that you're doing. It helps you fine tune the message that you're putting forward. And so that's crucial because if you don't put something out there that's going to resonate with people, then all your ads that you're paying and all that ad spend is just going to be not a waste, but it's going to fall on deaf ears. So those are the two that I would recommend. And then as far as favorite authors that have their own channels that encourage, I wish J.R.R. Tolkien was alive today and had an Instagram channel because boy, I'd follow it, but he's just not alive. Shelby Lee, I was trying to remember her name. Shelby Lee is a marketing by Shelby is an Instagram guru. So I follow her and Steve Piper and I don't know, a handful of others.
Very nice. Specifically, since you went a little bit deeper into marketing, what has been the most effective marketing efforts that you've tried? Is this like the sum of all the parts together where you need a little bit of visibility, a little bit of outreach, a little bit of one-on-ones? Or can you attribute one channel or effort to most of the success that you would recommend to others?
My blimps, the blimps that I fly overhead that have my buy Aaron Ryan books. No, I'm kidding. That would be expensive marketing. I haven't thought of blimps though. So note to self, I'm going to get blimp.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year of blimps. I see what you did there. Honestly, the best form of marketing has just been enthusiastic, just in a general sense. But honestly, the best way for me to sell my books has been at marketing fairs, craft fairs, vendor markets, trade shows, things like that. So handmade goods that people do. Granted, I'm next to the person who's doing woodwork over there, and this person has glass blown artifacts, and that person is selling like commissioned paintings and stuff like that. But I am unique. I would never I want to not leave the word never on the table. I want to put it out. I'm going to just put never over here for a minute because I think that someday I may do a book fair, but book fairs, you don't stand out at all as an author. All of us are clamoring for the attention of the readers going by. And so we're not unique in any way. The more unique you can be, the better you will stand out and the more people will go, huh, wow. So I do a lot of vendor markets. I just did one this past Saturday and sold 39 books. I did a 3-day one. It was in June, I believe, and sold 100 books on the nose over the course of that 3 days. It felt like it was incendiarily hot that weekend. It was kind of like being scraped out of the center of the sun and then just being coated with a nice blanket of lava. It was super hot. And so it was almost excruciating to do that, but it was totally worth it. Took one for the team. But the vendor markets, man, those are really good marketing and they're a great place to sell your books and meet people who will then catch your enthusiasm and then they'll tell people enthusiastically about you and your books. I love doing them.
That is a great point, and I think overall, it's the enthusiasm that is really contributing to the success. If you apply different tactics, but still the same fairs and met the same people, I don't think the book would sell quite as well had you not had all this enthusiasm to match with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the pom-poms help as well. So the pom-poms that I wave about feverishly,
The
I do have
bell.
them. I have them color coded. So I have a blue one and I have a green one. I just think the more that you can get yourself out there and people love local, it's really funny and it's just bizarre that they ask me this, are you the author? I'm like, no, my name's Doug. I'm just selling Aaron's books here and signing them as Aaron. That'd be just so weird. So they actually ask me that and I have to just preempt them and go, yes, I'm the author. Okay, good. I beat you. But the other thing is they always ask, are you local? And they love supporting a local author. Now, this is where you're kind of going to butt up against the whole humility, ego side of it and have to kind of squelch that within yourself. And yes, I'm a bit of a local celebrity. As a local author, they can say, look, I have his book, I have his signature, I knew him. And I hope to God that they'll be able to say that because this bad boy has been, not him, but the book itself, sorry, he's not bad. He's quite good. Anyway, look at him. This has been adapted for the screen and is being pitched to streaming networks right now. Netflix, HBO Max, Paramount, Imagine Entertainment, just a bunch of them. It's being pitched. And so if this gets made into an episodic series on one of those streaming networks, people are going to have these and go, I have this book, and they'll say, I knew him when. So that's another thing that generates buzz and that people can rally behind you for. Anything that you can give them as a reason to support a local author who wrote his own books, who has a screenplay, it's being adapted to screen. They want to get on board that momentum train, man. And it's so cool. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a testament to the quality of your work, the fact that people will keep coming back and sales continue to increase. They want to tell their friends. They want to get the next volume, the next series. They are hooked. They want more.
The books suck. They just appreciate my enthusiasm. No, I'm kidding.
The book is garbage, but man,
Look, they're
he's
actually
so
blank
cool.
inside. No, it's very true, but it has to be your marketing is only as good as your product, right? So the product, thankfully, fortunately, I've had plenty of years experience writing, and I put together something that I utterly believe in. I am so proud of these stories. And so that's number one. Number two, the marketing and the enthusiasm around it just gives them a 1-2 punch of like, it's a knockout. I've got to buy. It's a Jake Paul, Mike Tyson knockout, I say.
It goes 8
Oh,
rounds. You
Mike.
got 8 books. It's a whole
Yep.
thing. I love it. Now, for those who want to buy your book, learn more about you, and get connected with you online, where are the best places they should go?
Favorite question. I love this question. So number one, you can go to author.com. And I want to clarify that's not awful, Aaron Ryan. It is authoraaronryan.com. I don't know if awfulaaronryan.com is actually out there somewhere, but authoraaronryan.com. Or you can go for the sci-fi post-apocalyptic alien invasion military thriller series. So you take a big breath for that one. That is dissonancetheseries.com, but people always misspell it as dissidence. So just simply go to books.com and that will forward you to dissonancetheseries.com. That's the whole series website. So authoraaronryan.com, dissonancetheseries.com. All the social links are at the very bottom of each page.
That is excellent. And we'll have those links down in the show notes and the descriptions. That way there's no confusion. People can get the direct link right there. But it's always nice to have that forwarding domain. I would even consider purchasing Awful Aaron Ryan just to have it,
Let's
just
look
to
that
forward it. Could you?
Let me look that
No,
up real quick.
that's actually a marketing strategy. Just as Elvis Presley, his campaign manager made buttons that said Elvis Presley sucks. So they got you coming or going. Either way, they own the resistance there. So
Yeah. Hey, awfulaaronryan.com is available. Add to cart.
I swear you should just make it a page dedicated to not liking yourself. And suddenly you'll create this subscriber list of people who don't like you. And who knows, they might buy something later on. You might need
Yeah.
like a pseudonym or something.
Yeah, I should do that. I think I'm just going to get it just for the fact that I can say that it's there. You have these interviews, and I always end up saying that it's not awful, Aaron Ryan. And then people are going to watch this later on and go, I wonder it. Let's go. Awfulaaronryan.com. Holy cow, it does go to his site. What a smart guy.
Greatest marketing tactic. What are you so excited for? You're wrapping up 2024 here. You have a book releasing. What are you excited about in 2025 going forward?
Well, first of all, it's the screenplay. I can't wait to see that get picked up by a streaming network because that is every author's dream is to have their book that they worked so hard on. And I worked so hard on these. To have that adapted for the screen is one thing. To see it actually materialize on screen, I'll be as giddy as an 11-year-old schoolgirl. I don't know why I changed genders there, but anyway, that's number one, what I'm most excited for. Number two is I'm excited to actually take it a little bit slower in 25. I mean, I was full tilt, balls to the wall. Can I say that? Absolutely just nitro speed throughout this entire year because as a voiceover artist, I've seen the industry around me crumbling, not by virtue of the fact that I left the community. I'm not saying that it's crumbling because I left. That was really poorly worded. Hi, I'm an author. This is where it's awful, Aaron Ryan. We're all being beset by AI. So a few years ago, it was the SAG-AFTRA strike, or last year it was the SAG-AFTRA strike. It's always been low bidding, underbidding colleagues, lowballing clients, the economy. But now we're contending with AI, and people would rather spend $45 for software from Speechalo, type in their prompt or Chat GPT or OpenAI or whatever, type in their prompt, have it render it to audio, and then throw it up on some site somewhere. It's disconnected, it's inhuman, and furthermore, it's inhumane. It's putting a lot of good, hardworking voiceover artists out of work. So my income has dropped, and in a panic, and in planning, I've pivoted to becoming an author again, and now fiction. So that really only started late last year. So I have authored 7 books in 1 year and worked very hard on them. I deserve a break. So that's what I'm going to take in 2025 for a little bit and just continue to market while I work on the next book. But I am doing a children's book because I have an 8 and a 5-year-old boy. They're right there. I was looking at your screen. They're right there. And so I'll do the children's book and then I'll take a break. And then I have another one and then I'll take a break.
Well, you deserve some time off, but it's smart for you to understand what's going on in the market and try to pivot so you can come out ahead just seeing that your income is dropping. AI is definitely going to be replacing or changing the way that we do things, but it's up to us to kind of stay ahead of that curve if we can and try to
Yeah.
prepare for it as much as possible.
It's scary. As a creative, I would never willingly surrender my God-given ability to create. It is the coolest thing. And the fact that creative industries are under siege by AI just sickens me. I have video production clients that are just there under siege as well. The revolution's coming, man. It's going to be televised. And I hope there is legislation. I don't remember what it is, but I just hope that legislation finally catches up with AI and the damage that it can do, especially to the creatives.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of people were saying they were hoping AI and automation would take away a lot of the hard labor, the very mundane tasks that we hate doing. Instead, it's doing all the fun and creative ones that we like to do, like the poetry and the songwriting and the video. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's crazy to see what it do. It doesn't create, it just replicates and imitates. So it's always going to need some sort of human input, human creativity in order to even continue the AI operation. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what happens.
Knocking on wood.
Knock on wood. Absolutely. We'll have to have you come back for part two, volume two, once you have like your 16th book out, or maybe AI changes drastically in the next 3 months. We'll have you back on. But so thankful and grateful to have you on, share your journey, your story, the tips and tricks, everything that you're working on. So great to meet you. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Remember, author, not awful,
Oh,
AaronRyan.com.
yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.